Can you imagine going to your favorite theme park as a kid, only to find out there were some very dark things going on just beneath the surface? People completely losing their minds and their bodies being discovered with their faces completely disfigured. Well, this is Liminal Land, a place that will take your view of theme parks and completely make you question everything. Hey everyone, it's H.O.M.E, so in today's video we're going to be tackling a series called Liminal Land. A series that I'm not entirely sure a lot of you have heard about since the channel is relatively on the smaller side. There hasn't been a lot of coverage on this series, which I found pretty surprising. But essentially it's about this theme park called Liminal Land, a place where people have been going missing left and right, and those that have been found in extremely morbid conditions. But why is this happening? And that's the question we're going to be trying to solve in this video. But before we get into it, please do not forget to subscribe, as well as liking the video and commenting bruh. As always, that helps me out. And check out my Instagram if you feel extra cool today. So yeah. Hey guys, real quick, I did want to thank the sponsor of today's episode, which is H.O.M.E. Cold turkey may be great on sandwiches, but there's a better way to break your bad habits. And we're not talking about some memory wiping hypnosis. We're talking about a sponsor, H.O.M.E, and they look at the problem in a very different way. Not everything in a bad habit is so wrong, so instead of a drastic, uncomfortable change, why not just remove the bad from the habit? H.O.M.E is an innovative, award-nominated device that does just that. Instead of electronics, H.O.M.E is completely natural. Instead of vapor, H.O.M.E uses flavored air. And instead of harmful chemicals, H.O.M.E uses all-natural, delicious flavors. You get it. Instead of bad, H.O.M.E is good. It's a habit that you're free to enjoy and makes replacing a bad habit very easy. Your H.O.M.E comes with an adjustable airflow dial and is designed with movable parts and magnets for fidgeting, giving your fingers a lot to do, which is helpful for de-stressing and anxiety while breaking your habit. And like I said in my last video, I wasn't completely sure how I felt about the product of H.O.M.E, but after they sent one over, I was very pleasantly surprised at how nice the flavored air actually was. Stopping is something we all put off because it's hard, but switching to H.O.M.E is easy, enjoyable, and even fun. H.O.M.E has served over 100,000 customers and has thousands of success stories, and there's no reason that it can't be you. Join H.O.M.E in accelerating humanity's breakup from destructive habits by picking up the Journey Pack today. Head to tryhome.com/wowman or scan the QR code and use code WOWMAN to get 10% off when you get the Journey Pack today. That's tryhome.com and use code WOWMAN to save an additional 10% off on your order today. Liminal Land brings us right into the horror with no hesitation. What starts off as a national anthem broadcast quickly turns into a missing persons broadcast, showing us numerous people who have gone missing. It's a total of 9 people, and 5 of those missing people are children. Diving into the description of the video, it states, archived anthem and sign-off for LVVT Channel 5 in Lake Valley, New Mexico. Contrary to the small population size of Lake Valley, the high number of missing persons cases is likely attributed to the numerous incidents that took place within nearby Liminal Land Park. And what's really interesting about this tape is the way that it plays out. It starts off with the national anthem and then directly cutting to the missing persons broadcast. And the reason that's interesting is because this is a direct reference to a broadcast that played out in 1989. In 1989, there was this broadcast from WMAQ that aired a national anthem display on live television. However, as soon as the national anthem ended, the screen cuts to black, and we're immediately met with this image of a missing person named Joanna Lopez. Take a watch because this was very real, which makes it even more unsettling. It's even more unsettling to think about how this was an actual broadcast, so tons of people saw this in their homes on their own TVs. Within this installment, we're introduced to one of the tapes used to train the employees of Liminal Land. And I know I said this in my last video, but I feel like we're all a little bit burnt out with training tapes. But this one gets a pass, and you'll see why. Welcome to Liminal Land. We're so grateful to have you join our team and hope we've given you a warm and memorable welcome thus far. As you've seen, we pride ourselves in ensuring that each visitor's experience is nothing short of positive. In this tape, we hope to teach you how to spot dissatisfied visitors. And after this little creepy kind of welcome introduction piece, how are you supposed to spot dissatisfied visitors? We're shown exactly how to do that. We're shown an image with two children, the tape saying that one of these two is a dissatisfied visitor. And what I do like about this series is that it wastes no time making the viewer feel uneasy, because what follows is a series of images that tasks you, the future employee, to spot the dissatisfied customer.
Look at the photo.
Which, as creepy as this may be, it's a little fun to play along. Trying to figure out which one is unsatisfied. Like this one, I swore I got it right. I thought it was this kid on the right, but I guess he looks pretty happy. Let me know if you get it right. Try and spot the dissatisfied viewer. Did you get it right? But as each disturbing image passes, we get this message. The park is a L, but cutting out before the sentence can be finished. Then showing us two children who seem to be dead on top of a pile of furniture. When you're ready, inform your manager to initiate Course 7 with passcode right. At Liminal Land, a happy visitor is a forever visitor. And I feel like this is a good time to mention that there's an actual entire website dedicated to the lore of Liminal Land. It's an archival site dedicated to preserving everything that happened at Liminal Land, and also trying to figure out what happened at this theme park that made so many people go missing. At the bottom of the site, there's also this section that allows you to send a message to the Liminal Land Archival Committee. So I wanted to see what would happen if I left a message, kind of claiming that I was one of the visitors at Liminal Land, to see what would happen, and this is what I wrote. I remember visiting Liminal Land as a child. Although any memories surrounding the park are hazy, I do, however, remember feeling a sense of dread every minute that we stayed inside the park. Signed, Freddy. That's not my real name, if you're wondering. I also left an additional message with only one word, the word right. I wanted to see if anything would happen if I used the passcode from the training tape, and we'll check back with this later in the video to see if it got any responses to these messages. This one begins, and we're given information regarding case file 112182, which deals with an anomaly that took place at Liminal Land. In recent months, NMSP has been made aware of an anomalous attraction at Liminal Land Park. The right is believed to be tied to numerous cases of facial deformity, as noted by Lake Valley Regional Hospital. LVVT has declined to cover these cases on local television, as visual depictions are not suitable for a general audience. We hope this record will serve as suitable and alternative case study for the Liminal Land anomaly. After this debrief, we're shown a man named Rick Ackerman, age 42, and in the medical notes section it says that he has mild anxiety. Same. Anyway, Rick has visited Liminal Land in July 1988 with his wife and 3 children. However, during their time at Liminal Land Park, Rick decided that, he wanted to try one of the rides on his own, because I'm sure his children were too scared to go on the big rides and his wife didn't want to, so he went on his own to try this ride called the Liminal Land Anomaly. And this photograph was the last time his family saw him alive. And after Rick's death, there was something completely off with how they found him, because his face had several facial deformities. Although it was a mystery to the family as well as the staff as to what really happened to Rick. Also, what else is strange is that if we go back to the Liminal Land archival website, there is a section that lists the attractions at Liminal Land. However, scrolling through, there is no documentation of a ride called the Liminal Land Anomaly. although there are 2 attractions that are listed as unknown, so it could be one of these 2. The second victim was a woman named Lena Sorensen. No medical notes this time around, but she was around the same age as Rick. Lena had brought her first grade class to a trip at Liminal Land in the winter of 1984, and this would be 4 years before Rick was mysteriously killed. Lena took the children to the park's Paradise Playrooms, an attraction that is listed on the site. Lena would remain with the children for several minutes before she would mysteriously just abandon them and go off on her own to explore the rest of the park. And then it goes on to tell us that Lena had left the children alone for a total of 8 hours. However, the children didn't even notice that she was gone. And as for the whereabouts of Lena, they were completely unaccounted for. Although this was completely out of character, given that she was a first grade teacher, why would she just abandon her kids on a field trip? It just didn't make sense. However, later that day, Lena's body would be found in a patch of dirt behind the Liminal Land Anomaly ride. Lena's body was found in pretty rough condition as well, her face suffering from similar facial deformities as Rick. The Lake Valley Police also declined to provide any additional information about what they found at the crime scene. The next victim was a woman named Maria Ramos, who was also in her 40s. She was 48 years old, a director, and in the medical notes it said that she had arthritis. Maria had visited Liminal Land alone in 1982, Maria Ramos being the first instance of the Liminal Land Anomaly deaths. Maria allegedly rode the wheel before making her way to the Liminal Land Anomaly, but on that day the ride was closed for repairs, but for some odd reason there was something compelling Maria to ride the ride no matter what. And some park employees even saw Maria trying to fidget with the controls of the ride, trying to get it to work, but they did nothing to stop her. And shortly after, Maria was successfully able to turn on the ride and sat in the farthest seat to the back, ready to ride. And before anyone could do anything, Maria was off. But this isn't even the creepiest part. I mean, everything that led up to this point was pretty unsettling. Her leaving the children and then turning on a ride that isn't supposed to be working right now. It gets even creepier when it tells us why the ride was being shut down for repairs. Because the reason they were fixing it is because the failsafe on the ride wasn't engaging properly, which caused the ride to go multiple times per session without stopping. And with no one to stop the ride manually, Maria ended up riding the ride non-stop for a total of 26 minutes. And what is shown to us after this is an illustration of Maria's facial structure after the ride was brought back under control. Within this tape, it states that the footage is licensed for private home employee viewing only. Any public performance, copying, viewing, or selling of this tape is strictly prohibited. This tape introducing the employees of Liminal Land to the hotel of the park. Home standing for holistic and opportune mutual experience. And what they're trying to do for their guests is provide them an experience that feels so much like home that they'll want to stay at Liminal Land Park for as long as possible. But there is a catch because the hotel is located underneath the park. And to make things even more unsettling, the underground residence is even larger than the park itself. And I mean, which normally would kind of make sense. I mean, they want to cater to as many guests as possible, you know, so why not make it bigger than the park? But when it shows us the sheer size of the underground residence, it's actually insane, because this is the park and this is the size of home. Then saying that if there is any sort of mess or inconvenience, that you are to fix it immediately so as not to make the guests uncomfortable and wish to leave prematurely. But you might be wondering what an inconvenience is. It might be, I don't know, a broken glass or something spilled over. Well, you're kind of right, but Not really. When shown to spot the inconvenience, we're shown a grim looking room with nothing inherently wrong with it, other than the fact that it's kind of creepy in there. But when it shows us what needs to be changed, it removes the door and windows, turning this room into essentially a prison cell. Liminal Land is keeping their guests trapped below the park. The tape cuts out and then we're shown footage of someone exploring the abandoned home residencies. The whole thing is underground and we can see houses created to replicate those of the guests. Messages start appearing on screen: do not follow strange sounds, do not enter a stranger's home. But the person in the video disregards these instructions and continues venturing deeper into these homes. Then there's this really creepy message that says to never leave a passage unblocked, and there's even a sign that says to do the same thing. Curiosity will become regret. The person eventually makes it to a door with flashing lights underneath it, but decides to run in the other direction. They begin running through this backrooms-like area, and this entire area is where I'm assuming they're going to be building more homes as they continue expanding this underground residency. The lights go out and the person becomes even more frantic than before, and they finally reach an exit. But when they open it, it's something incomprehensible. The video ending with this: those who seek departure will lose themselves. We hope you learned from others' mistakes. We hope you have a pleasant day here at Liminal Land. And after all of this, it means that Liminal Land is showing this footage to their employees, basically saying that, hey, if you don't follow our rules, you're gonna end up like this guy. And going on the website, we get a little more insight of what H.O.M.E actually is. Blending 50s inspired decor with modern cues from the 1980s, H.O.M.E was a marvel for its time, and due to the intrigue and raving reviews surrounding it, Charon would begin selling units in 1981, fulfilling their goal of keeping their patrons on park grounds for as long as humanly possible. Due to the allure of H.O.M.E and its outward appearance of a sprawling underground suburbia, quick family vacations often turned into extended and even permanent stays, and for many, Liminal Land Park had indefinitely become home. Quick disclaimer, I'm not going to be saying mommy. Quick disclaimer, for every time it says this, I'm going to be saying mom instead. This one begins by saying the NMSP continues their investigation into strange activity happening around Lake Valley, New Mexico, and that last week they received an anonymous tip directing them towards the Munoz residence, saying allegedly that Sofia Munoz had been acting increasingly erratic since the disappearance of her daughter Angie. According to Sofia's testimony, her daughter Angie had run away in the middle of the night, and although Sofia had no reason to be lying to investigators, and nor did investigators have a reason to suspect Sofia, they did have one question: what motive did Angie have to run away? And so in a sweep of Sofia Munoz's home, they discovered some drawings from the missing daughter. Within the drawings was a story called Mom's Friend. This discovery, however, prompted Sofia to flee the home immediately. And I'll show you guys this entire story because it's pretty chilling to read. Mom's Friend. This is my mom. Mom takes me everywhere. Mom taked me to Liminal Land. I was so excited. But then Mom made me sad. Mom taked me in this house. Inside there were more houses. Mom looked. Mom said she was looking for a friend. Follow me. It's okay. Inside was a mom's friend. Mom's friend. We have reason to believe that Sofia Munoz was involved in the disappearance of her daughter Angie. The video ends there with a warrant for Sofia Munoz's arrest being put out. And with that, the videos conclude, And it definitely seems like there's something supernatural going on with the location that Liminal Land was built on. With countless people going missing at the park, people's faces being deformed and killed, there's also the threat of Liminal Land itself, because although they aren't responsible for any of the supernatural occurrences, they're definitely responsible for the people stuck inside of H.O.M.E. They're trying to entice people to stay as long as humanly possible, and when they finally want to leave, they aren't allowed to. There also seems to be some sort of demon living under Liminal Land, which is most likely responsible for these 3 deaths, as well as the disappearance of Angie, because in this series we have seen people being controlled against their will, like Maria, who rode the Liminal Land Anomaly to the point of killing her. But in this case of Sophia and Angie, it seems like Sophia was, I don't know, kind of sacrificing her daughter to whatever this thing is. However, for what purpose, we don't know. I even checked my email with both of the messages that I sent, but unfortunately I got nothing back. But yeah, that was Liminal Land. Please be sure to let me know your thoughts and theories in the comments. I'd love to read them. And let me know, would you stay in H.O.M.E if the rent was free? I know I definitely would, because rent sucks. But speaking of rent, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, liking the video, and commenting bruh, so I can pay for mine. Huge thank you to my ultimate tiers, Kareem Arellano, K-pop Lover X3, and Knight98. And yeah, see you later. Bye. Love ya.